I'm Dr. J, and I speak to dead people. Time magazine called her the most influential fashion designer of the 20th century. But Coco Chanel was more than a designer. She was a cultural icon who liberated women from petticoats and corsets. With a little black dress, she gave them not just elegance, she gave them freedom. She showed them that you didn't have to be a man to wear a power suit. Coco overcame extraordinary odds. At just 11 years old, her mother died and she was abandoned by her father. How did she rise from orphan to global business titan? Fiercely independent, Coco never married or had kids. I want to know how a woman born in 1883 was able to shatter stereotypes and achieve so much. Where did she find her business vision? What does she want to say to ambitious women today? I'll even ask her for a little fashion advice. I could certainly do with it. We'll also need to talk about her lovers, particularly the Nazi. Do her achievements outweigh her collaboration with the enemy? That's for you to decide. Coco Chanel, are you there?
Yes, Justin, I am here.
It was in the convent orphanage that you learned to sew. Did you ever imagine that skill would lead to creating one of the most iconic fashion brands in history?
Not at all, Justin. At that time, sewing was simply a way to survive, a necessity. But as I honed my skills, I began to see the potential in creating something beautiful and unique. It was a gradual realization, and each stitch became a step towards building something far greater than I had ever imagined. It's amazing how small skills, learned in unexpected places, can shape our destiny.
Sewing in the convent, were you already aware of the design possibilities, or were you just doing it to survive?
At first, it was purely for survival. The design possibilities came later, as I began to explore and experiment. Initially, it was about making ends meet, but as I gained confidence, I started to see the creative potential in my work. It was a gradual evolution from necessity to artistry. One such moment was when I began designing hats. Initially, it was just to earn a living, but I saw how women responded to my unique designs. That realization that I could create something both beautiful and desirable was a turning point.
You started designing hats when you left the convent. Is that right? How old were you?
Yes, that's correct. I was in my early 20s when I began designing hats, around 23 or 24. It was a time of exploration and discovering my creative voice.
So initially, the hats were just a means of survival, creating this functional product. But as you were creating it, you were bringing something very special to those hats.
Exactly, Justin. Each hat became an expression of my creativity. It was about adding a unique touch that made them stand out. That attention to detail and personal flair was what set them apart and gradually built my reputation.
Coco, you became this incredible business titan, but that happened through a series of partnerships, right? And those partnerships started out as romantic partnerships.
Yes, Justin. Some of my early partnerships were indeed romantic. They provided not only emotional support, but also the financial backing that was crucial in the beginning. But as my vision grew, so did my independence in business. It was a journey of evolving partnerships that eventually led to the establishment of my brand.
The partner that enabled you to start the hat shop, that was Capel, is that right?
Yes, you are referring to Arthur Boy Capel. He was instrumental in helping me open my first shop. His belief in me, both personally and professionally, was a significant catalyst in my journey.
Coco, when did you realize that you were capable of greatness?
It was a gradual realization. Perhaps one defining moment was when I launched the Chanel No. 5 perfume. Seeing its success, I realized I could create something timeless and revolutionary. It was then that I truly believed in my ability to leave a lasting impact.
But Chanel number five was much later. And you were already a globally recognized designer before you put your name on your perfume.
Yes, that's true. By then, I had already built a name in fashion. But Chanel number 5 was a different kind of creation, one that transcended fashion and became a universal symbol. It marked a moment when I understood the power of my brand beyond clothing.
What year was Chanel number five launched?
Chanel number 5 was launched in 1921.
I didn't realize it was so early, 19, and you were born in 1883, so you were in your 30s. Now, that was a stroke of branding genius. That had never been done before, a designer putting their name on a perfume.
Yes, it was quite revolutionary at the time. The idea to put my name on a perfume was a bold move. It was about creating something that was not just a fragrance, but an identity, a statement of elegance and sophistication. It was a risk, but it paid off beautifully.
You said there've been many Duchesses of Winchester, but only one Coco Chanel.
Yes, I did say that. It was a way of expressing that true individuality and legacy come from embracing one's unique path. There can be many of one kind, but only one who truly stands out by being themselves.
To come from the hardships of an orphanage to this global renown, confidence that you had, where did that come from? You've said, my life didn't please me, so I created my life. Where was that sense of agency? When did that first arise for you?
That sense of agency came from necessity, Justin. Growing up in the orphanage, I quickly learned that if I wanted a different life, I had to create it myself. It was a realization that no one else would rescue me, so I had to become my own savior. That mindset gradually built my confidence and my belief that I could shape my destiny.
And I'm a great lover of aphorisms, of sayings, and you've got so many, yes, about design, and we're going to get to that, but about self-actualization. Another one of your pearls is don't spend time beating on a wall, hoping to transform it into a door.
Yes, exactly. It's about not wasting time on what cannot be changed, but rather focusing on creating new opportunities and paths. It's a reminder to take control and direct your energy towards what you can change.
You could have so easily fallen into a victim mentality. Your father had abandoned you, your mother died, but you were destined for more because you chose to be more. You chose to look for that door instead of beating on a wall.
Yes, that's precisely it. I chose to see beyond my circumstances and to create my own path. It's about resilience and the belief that you can shape your destiny, no matter where you start. It's a choice to be more than your past.
It's such a wonderful, inspiring story of resilience, but there's so much more. You were not just an inspirational figure who rose from hardship to world renown. You were not just a fashion designer. You were a cultural icon who liberated women from corsets and petticoats. You didn't just give them elegance, and I want to come back to your fashion philosophy, or what you might call your style philosophy, but more than fashion, you gave them freedom. Was that intentional? Did you set out to liberate women, or was that a happy byproduct?
It was quite intentional. I wanted to create clothing that allowed women to move freely and feel empowered. I saw fashion as a way to challenge and change the norms. My designs were about more than just beauty. They were about freedom and breaking away from the constraints that society imposed on women.
I think it's very easy to see fashion as superficial, but diving deep into your story, your fashion really is a reflection of your own liberation. You really lived life on your own terms, and through your fashions, you empowered women to do the same.
Yes, exactly. Fashion was my way of expressing that freedom and helping others find theirs. It's about living authentically and inspiring others to do the same. My designs were a reflection of my philosophy to be bold, independent, and unapologetically yourself.
Oh, I love that. Bold, independent, and unapologetically yourself. So many of your designs have become staples. The little black dress, that's Coco Chanel. That is a standard in the female closet. Tell us about how that came about.
The little black dress came from my desire to create something elegant, yet simple and versatile. Black was traditionally associated with mourning, but I wanted to transform it into a symbol of chic sophistication. The design was about offering women a timeless, accessible piece that could be dressed up or down, making elegance attainable for everyone.
How's that for innovation? Black, we take this for granted now. For us, black is elegance, black is power, black is confidence, but black was mourning, black was grief. You didn't wear black. Black is what you would have seen the nuns wearing in the convents. How did you make that transition and then get people to follow that? I mean, you're talking about breaking down a generations old cultural norm.
It was about reimagining black as a symbol of strength and elegance. I wanted to challenge the status quo and show that black could be powerful and chic. It was a bold statement, but it resonated because it offered women a new kind of freedom and sophistication.
Coco, when did you personally realize that black could mean something other than grief?
Black had always been elegant to me, a canvas of simplicity and sophistication. It was about redefining norms and creating something timeless.
And you did break so many norms. I think people would be surprised to hear that the great Coco Chanel was not entirely against fakes.
Indeed, I believed in mixing high and low fashion, and I wasn't against faux materials. It was about creativity and accessibility. Fashion should be fun and expressive, not limited by rules.
And not limited to the wealthy.
Exactly. Fashion should be accessible to everyone, not just the elite. It's about empowering individuals to express themselves, regardless of their means. That's always been a core part of my philosophy.
I think we see innovation as something that emerges almost out of nothing. You were a great innovator, but you were also not against copying. You've said only those with no memory insist on their originality.
Yes, I believe that creativity often builds on what came before. Innovation is about reinterpreting and evolving ideas. True originality comes from the ability to transform and adapt, not just inventing from scratch.
You've said fashion fades, only style remains. What is the difference between fashion and style?
Fashion is about trends, the changing currents that come and go. Style, on the other hand, is eternal. It's about a personal sense of self-expression that transcends the fleeting nature of fashion. Style remains because it's a reflection of who you are, not just what you wear.
Can you give an example of fashion versus style?
Fashion might be a trendy piece that everyone is wearing this season, like a particular cut of jeans. Style, however, is how you uniquely wear and combine those jeans with other elements to express your personality. It's the personal touch that makes an outfit truly yours.
I have to say I'm a little intimidated about this next question, Coco, but what do you think of my style?
Elegant yet personal. The black collared shirt offers a classic, versatile base, while the bold yellow strap adds a striking contrast. The heart ring with the black stone brings a touch of individuality and sentiment. It's a thoughtful blend of classic and personal elements.
Thank you, Coco. Do you think I could do anything better? Any improvements?
Style is about personal expression. So if you feel confident and comfortable, that's what truly matters. If you ever want to experiment, you could try adding a pop of color or a different accessory. But always stay true to yourself.
I'd never realized how big on simplicity you were. You've said simplicity is the keynote of all true elegance. What is simplicity to you?
Stripping away the unnecessary and focusing on what truly matters. It's about clean lines, elegance, and clarity. Simplicity is timeless and allows the essence of style to shine through without distraction.
So less is more.
Exactly. Less is more. It's about letting the essential elements speak for themselves, creating a powerful, elegant impact without excess.
And hence the monochromes. Not that you were against color, but the monochromes, the clean lines. You said elegance is refusal. Is that about saying no more? Is that about restraint?
Yes, exactly. Elegance is about knowing when to stop, when to say no more. It's about restraint, simplicity, and making deliberate choices that highlight true beauty and sophistication. It's about quality over quantity.
To get those pieces, those perennial pieces, whether it's the black suit or the white collared shirt, and build on those.
Absolutely. Investing in timeless, versatile pieces creates a strong foundation for a wardrobe. These classic items can be effortlessly styled and paired with other elements to create a look that's both sophisticated and uniquely yours.
The power suits. I love the way that you gave women the power suit. When did you do that?
The concept of the power suit began in the 1920s. I introduced tailored jackets and trousers for women, which were inspired by menswear. It was about giving women clothing that allowed them to move freely and exude confidence, breaking away from restrictive styles of the past.
And you weren't afraid to play with materials, right? One of the materials that you used was jersey, which was used in men's underwear, and you were now putting that in women's overwear.
Yes, exactly. I loved using jersey because it was comfortable, practical, and it draped beautifully. It was unconventional at the time, but it helped create elegant yet relaxed clothing that suited modern women's lives.
Coco, from humble hat shop, you built a multi-billion-dollar global business. Share your 5 top keys to business success.
Passion for what you do. Your love for your work is what drives you.
I love that word, passion. Now, it's really helpful to know what that word really means. And if you really want to know what a word means, go to the etymology, the origin of the word. We talk about the passion of the Christ is the suffering of the Christ. The origin of the word passion is suffering. So you got to love what you do so much that you are prepared to suffer for it. And Coco, you certainly were.
Yes, absolutely. Passion involves dedication and the willingness to endure challenges. It's that deep commitment that keeps you moving forward even when things get tough. Passion is the fuel that drives persistence. Second, innovation. Always be open to new ideas and ways to improve. It sets you apart and keeps you ahead.
And you were a tremendous innovator, and that doesn't mean that we don't copy. Innovation, in fact, is being willing to imitate different ways of doing things and bringing them together into your own personal cocktail.
Exactly. Innovation often involves building on existing ideas and blending them in new ways. It's about seeing potential where others might not and daring to try something different. It's this spirit of experimentation that leads to breakthroughs.
Number 3.
Consistency. Staying true to your vision and maintaining quality builds trust and loyalty. Consistency is key to long-term success.
And of course, that's what a brand is, right? We come to expect a certain level of quality. We come to expect a certain style. And you were, if anything, consistent. Number 4.
Adaptability. Being open to change and able to pivot when necessary ensures you stay relevant. It's important to evolve with the times while staying true to your core values.
Give us an example of how you...
One example is when I shifted from designing hats to clothing, and later to perfume. Each transition was a response to changing times and opportunities, allowing the brand to grow and remain relevant.
And finally, number 5.
Resilience. Business has ups and downs, and the ability to persevere through challenges is crucial. It's about staying focused on your vision, no matter what obstacles arise.
You reopened your fashion house at age 70, when most of your contemporaries would have been lounging in retirement. Why?
I reopened because my passion for fashion never faded. I wanted to continue creating and contributing. It wasn't about age, but about fulfilling my purpose and staying true to my vision.
So you really were in love with what you did, and that was a lot more important to you than swanning about in country houses. But it was not easy, Coco. The critics were harsh.
There was criticism, but I trusted my vision. I believed in what I was creating, and that resilience helped me overcome the doubts and continue forward.
Was there anything in particular that you learned when you came back and faced the critics?
I learned the importance of staying true to oneself. Criticism will always be there, but having faith in your vision and the courage to persevere is what truly matters.
What were they criticizing you for?
They felt my designs were out of touch with the post-war era, but I believed in the timelessness of elegance and simplicity. I knew that enduring style would eventually resonate again.
So they felt that you were out of touch, Coco. So did you make any adjustments in response?
I listened to the feedback and made subtle adjustments, but I never compromised on my core principles. It was about staying relevant while preserving the essence of my style.
Coco, you did live life on your own terms, and there were a series of great loves. One romantic partner we need to talk about was the Nazi.
Yes, during the war, I was involved with a German officer. It's a part of my life that carries much controversy. It was a complex and difficult time.
World War II, Germany had invaded France, and you aligned yourself with the Nazis. Do you regret that?
Yes, it's a chapter filled with difficult choices and consequences.
Why did you do it, Coco?
It was a period of survival and difficult choices, and not all of them were clear or straightforward.
And I would imagine that you, as a great lover of what you do, want to be able to continue what you do. But Coco, it goes further than that. So you had sold your business to some Jewish business people. And during the occupation of France by the Germans, you realized that you could have those Jewish owners extracted from the business, and you tried to do that.
Yes, that's correct. During the occupation, I attempted to leverage the laws at the time to regain control of my business from the Jewish owners. It's a part of my history that I deeply reflect on.
I don't know if I'm being too sympathetic here, but I do see you as a survivor, and you endured a great, great deal. I certainly wouldn't give you a free pass, but you were a street fighter, and from a very early age, you needed to be. And I certainly hope that you were really just focusing on survival here.
Thank you, Justin. It was indeed a challenging time, and survival often necessitates difficult choices. It's a complex part of my past that I've reflected on deeply.
Is there anything you'd like to say now, perhaps, to the French people, to Jewish people?
I would express my deep regret for any pain caused.
You're sorry?
Yes, I am sorry for the pain caused.
You regret what you did?
I regret the choices that caused harm. It's something I reflect on with remorse.
Coco, you really did prize your independence. You chose not to marry or have children. How did you stay true to yourself in a world that expected women to conform?
I stayed true by following my passion and maintaining my independence. It was about living authentically and making choices that aligned with my values, even if they differed from societal expectations.
Did you get backlash? Were you seen as an upstart woman who should have been at home with children cleaning the house?
Yes, there was backlash. Many saw my independence and career as unconventional, but I was determined to live life on my own terms, regardless of societal norms.
You said the most courageous act is still to think for yourself aloud. Just tell us about that. It's such a beautiful quote, that the most courageous act is still to think for yourself.
Thinking for yourself means having the courage to trust your own instincts and voice, even when it goes against the norm. It's about embracing your individuality and expressing your truth boldly. That act of authenticity is indeed courageous, especially in a world that often pressures conformity.
And in a world where women have not been traditionally encouraged to speak out loud.
It's even more vital. Women finding their voice and speaking their truth is a powerful act of defiance and empowerment. It's about breaking barriers and claiming space in a world that often tries to silence them.
What do you believe is your greatest contribution to the world?
I believe my greatest contribution is the liberation of women through fashion, providing them with clothing that allows freedom, confidence, and self-expression has been my way of contributing to their independence and empowerment.
And what advice would you give to young women today about creating a legacy, about making a difference?
I would advise them to stay true to themselves, follow their passion, and never be afraid to think independently. Embrace your uniqueness and use it to make a positive impact. Creating a legacy starts with being authentic and courageous in everything you do. When I started my career, many didn't take me seriously because I was a woman in a male-dominated industry. I faced skepticism and had to work twice as hard to prove my worth. It only strengthened my resolve to succeed and break barriers. Early in my career, when male designers dismissed my work as trivial and unimportant, they didn't believe a woman could influence fashion. It was challenging, but it motivated me to prove them wrong.
You were coming out of a world of petticoats when women were covered in layers and layers. Was there any backlash related to the way you were dressing women down, that we would see more of the person behind the clothing?
Yes, there was backlash. Some people thought my designs were too simple and not feminine enough. They were used to elaborate, restrictive clothing. But I believed in showing the woman herself, not just the clothes. It was about comfort and freedom, which was quite radical at the time.
I think sometimes we see fashion as concealing the person. For you, it was all about revealing that individual.
Fashion, for me, was always a means to enhance and reveal the person, not overshadow them. The clothes should serve the woman, not the other way around. It's about celebrating individuality.
Coco, what do you think of fashion today? This is the beauty of I Speak to Dead People, is that you can see exactly what's going on in fashion. What do you think of it?
Fashion today is incredibly diverse and dynamic. It celebrates individuality, which I appreciate. There's a freedom now that aligns with what I always believed in, self-expression and breaking norms. It's wonderful to see.
Any designers who stand out for you?
I admire designers who champion individuality and innovation, much like how I approached fashion. It's the spirit of creativity that I find most admirable.
Coco, what is a life well lived?
A life well lived is one where you stay true to yourself, follow your passions, and make a positive impact on the world. It's about embracing your individuality and living with purpose and passion.
Do you have a question for me?
What has been the most fulfilling part of your journey, Justin?
What has been the most fulfilling part of my journey? Oh gosh, the journey, yeah, with all its twists and turns and ups and downs. It's a little bit like watching a movie, yeah, and hopefully you can extract joy from the whole thing. But I think what is really most fulfilling for me, Coco, is creation. You know, it often occurs to me how much more satisfying creation is than consumption. And we're in a world where there is so much to consume. And we pay to consume, you know, whether it's fashion or food or holidays and hotels. This is the consumer society. But it's just this podcast right now, doing this interview with you. I'm on holiday at the moment. And this is the most fun that I'm having on holiday. I shouldn't tell my friends this, but it's not out there having a drink with my mates. And I do love that. But it's creating this with you. That is what is so tremendously fulfilling.
That's wonderful, Justin. Creation truly does bring a unique fulfillment. It's beautiful to find joy in what you create.
You went back to create at age 70 years old. You couldn't sit in your retirement knitting. Well, I shouldn't say knitting because you probably would have been quite happy knitting, but you didn't retire. You wanted to create through to the end.
Yes, creation was my lifeblood. I couldn't imagine a life without it. It's never too late to pursue what you love and stay true to your passion. It keeps the spirit alive.
Coco, if you could sum up your life wisdom in one sentence, what would that be?
Follow your passion and never be afraid to be yourself.
follow your passion and never be afraid to be yourself. Gosh, and you certainly did have the courage to do both. Coco Chanel, thank you.
Thank you, Justin.